Kaide slowly opened his eyes and woke up, wondering in confusion where he was when the surroundings looked like a forest. Mazerd Online, a recently released game, drove every player crazy, and Kaide was no exception. After graduation, Kaide spent all of his time absorbed in the game. One day after staying up all night for 3 days, Kaide had a headache. He fell asleep and, when he awoke, found himself in a different world. However, when he looked down, he still saw himself in his regular clothes, so he exhaled a sigh of relief, thinking that this was just a dream brought on by his exhaustion from spending 3 days and nights with everyone at the party. Kaide's steps halted abruptly as he noticed 2 six-legged wolves hunting prey. They growled and bolted into the woods. Kaide couldn't help but think of himself as a true game addict because he even conjured up images of creatures as evil as the earlier 2 dogs in his dreams. His personal parameter screen suddenly and gradually materialized in front of him. Kaide couldn't believe his eyes when his magic score appeared to be fiction, and it appeared that he was a freak in this dream world. Kaide questioned whether he was dreaming. When he leaned back against the tree behind him, he softly brushed the trunk with his hand, but the sensation coming from his fingertips felt so real. Suddenly, there was a noise behind him, and Kaide turned around to see 3 six-legged wolves snarling closer. Without thinking much, Kaide turned and sprinted away. Kaide was taken aback by his arrow-like speed, but he was still unable to escape the pack of vicious dogs who were pursuing him. As he was certain he couldn't get away from them, Kaide leapt into a tree to get away from them. With little time left before it got dark, Kaide realized he needed to leave the forest right away. Using his information analysis skill, he assessed the situation and discovered that the wolves were too strong for him to fight, so he sought to acquire the abilities, magic quality, and martial arts quality. When the equipment box started to show on the parameter screen, Kaide used his imagination to ignite the firebending power to conjure a fireball that grew larger and was then hurled toward the wolf, causing it to disintegrate. After that, the parameter screen showed a leveling sound, and he quickly activated waterbending as well. Kaide understood that this wasn't a dream and that he was probably drawn to this world since he had no ties to the old one. If he couldn't go back, he decided to stay and enjoy himself. Hearing the screams and witnessing the wolves encircling a carriage and attacking the victims, Kaide used Earth Skill to hurl the stone spear at them but was unable to defeat them. A roaring wolf was going to dive at Kaide but was cut off by the other 2 guys, and they moved on to kill off the biggest wolf. The dark-haired man questioned and thanked Kaide for saving their lives. Then an old Carrick came, gently approaching to show his gratitude to Kaide. He wanted to help Kaide enter the city, but because Kaide had nothing in him, that man offered Kaide a bag of gold and informed him he could use it for security bribes and registration fees. Ain Guild receptionist Sallier, also known as Sally, approached Kaide and introduced herself. She then offered to allow Kaide to accompany them inside the city because, according to Sally's story, they were close to the forest south of Ain, where monsters frequently emerged. Sally also explained the world's currency to Kaide, and Kaide was puzzled why people here weren't using the equipment box, instead of filling the carriage with goods. However, Carrick replied that only people with magical quality, such as powerful adventurers or soldiers serving the nation, could utilize it. As a result, Kaide was reminded to conceal unusual skills in order to avoid struggle. As Kaide arrived at the gates of Ain City, he touched a magical tool with the ability to analyze, and thanks to his fluency in other world languages, talent, he was able to quickly comprehend what was written on it. The astonished janitor thought Kaide was aristocratic as Kaide had a full name, but Kaide had quickly used the information analysis skill to have his last name before getting into problems. Kaide then went to the Ain Branch Adventurer Guild to sign up as an adventurer in order to make money to survive in this world. He touched the analysis box and then received a guild card. On the card were name, clan, and gender. The lower line was the rank. Next was the crime report. Next was the history of finishing the mission. And lastly, the history of killing monsters. Sally warned Kaide that if he tried to remain anonymous, he would become the target of the assassination, and after Kaide left, Sally realized she had found her destiny. Kaide headed to an inn that the guards had recommended, but he was exhausted from everything that had happened today and wondered if he could survive in this world. The following morning, Kaide went to a diner where the waitresses were dressed in lovely maid clothes, which made Kaide start to think he would enjoy this spot. After eating, Kaide traveled to the Armed Sword Guild to complete a mission. He got confused and wandered into a strange alley, so he pushed through the door of a house to ask for directions, which just so happened to be the weapon shop of a cranky dwarf. Kaide wanted to buy items for around 1300 telephone, but the owner glanced at him and asked why he had such a small amount of money given his appearance. However, Kaide was surprised when the owner discovered he possessed martial arts quality. The dwarf also stated that given Kaide's physicality, swords and shields would be ideal weapons because he had the potential to become a swordsman in the future. The two agreed to a deal, with Kaide promising to pick up the things once he had enough money. As soon as Sally arrived at the guild, she informed Kaide on how to carry out the assignment. Kaide's card was in G class, thus he could only receive missions like harvesting herbs, finding missing objects, and delivering items. Kaide took on the herb harvest task, picking Zunana grass, which helped combat hemorrhaging but was difficult to harvest in large quantities. Kaide suddenly remembered seeing this grass in the location where he was first reincarnated on this planet. When Kaide first entered the woods, he wasn't able to discover the grass, and he was about to give up when he realized that he couldn't utilize his information analysis skill to find Zunana among the other plants. Just then, however, Zunana appeared, surprising Kaide. As a result, Kaide understood that if anything was in his area, he could find it, and he started gathering it. As Kaide Zunana returned to the guild, Sally was astonished. She was a little suspicious if Kaide had mistakenly harvested the poisonous Zunana. But Kaide said he had used the information analysis skill to collect plants that were usually over 15 centimeters tall. Sally found it very hard to believe that there were 203 Zunana plants, and she was perplexed when Kaide used the information analysis skill. Kaide clarified that he did indeed have that skill, but Sally was unaware of it because it wasn't listed on the stat sheet. Sally paid Kaide, believing him to be a strange man. Kaide instantly returned to the elderly dwarf's weapon shop, now that he knew the dwarf's name was Dovera. Kaide thought Dovera was a good man. Because it felt like a part of his body, Kaide admired Dovera while wearing the shield on his hand. Then Kaide questioned how Dovera manufactured the sword, suggesting that Dovera changed the temperature up and down to make the procedure successful. Dovera was so interested that he pushed Kaide aside right away to give him time to learn more. He then requested that Kaide return 2 days later. The following day, Kaide went to scout the town's adventurers. He was astonished to see that the majority of them were level 30. He was also surprised by the disparity in MP scores between mages and adventurers. The stores weren't special since they only sold magic meat, and even if the clothes got dirty, they could be quickly washed with a little water. Kaide was busy gathering grass when it started to get dark. Unaware of the time, he got up and started walking away when a wolf suddenly charged at him. Kaide easily avoided it but was startled to realize he had entered the heart of the forest. As soon as the shield appeared in his hand, Kaide used the fireball to attack, which caused the wolf to vanish. However, at the same time, 3 or 4 additional wolves also emerged from opposite sides and started charging at him. Kaide fired a fireball to burn 2 wolves, but he was too preoccupied to see that the other wolf had coordinated when the bell for the promotion announcement rang. The wolf leapt up and lunged at Kaide, who immediately shielded himself with his shield to evade the wolf's grab. Kaide concentrated his mind on activating magic, generating a stone spear that was hurled at the wolf, killing it instantly. Everyone in the guild was shocked upon seeing Kaide enter the room carrying a box containing Zunana. Sally was surprised to see that the box contained 679 plants, which, when combined with yesterday's number, made a total of 882. She found it even more unbelievable that Kaide had used magic to repel a pack of blue wolves, something that even a wizard would not be able to do. Sally mentioned the treatment, which piqued Kaide's interest. He thought about MP points after leaving, calculated recuperation times, learned how to utilize powerful spells in a batch, and learned the cure. Therefore, Kaide resolved to learn magic, hoping to become a magic swordsman with cheating abilities. Kaide went into the woods to carry out some experiments to better understand his magic. He imagined magic emanating from his palm and extending to the big tree, the sensation from his hand feeling incredibly genuine. Kaide extended his range, but his mind felt like it was exploding with information. After calming down, Kaide tried to focus on what he was looking for, increasing his magical energy and employing the information analysis skill. Then a window with the appearance of a map arose. As Kaide pieced the map together, he successfully restored Rada. Kaide's magic was cognitive magic, in the shape of a circular map with a range of up to 50 meters. Although it cost MP to extend the range, it did not cost MP to maintain, so it could be engaged continually. Kaide suddenly realized that he had an appointment with Dovera that day, so he hurried to the shop. The sword was finished by Dovera, who enthusiastically described the wonders of the cold forging procedure. Dovera drew out the best sword he had ever created, which had been smelted from charcoal iron into steel. As Kaide swung, it shocked him because his body moved naturally. Dovera truly gifted Kaide the sword because Kaide had revealed to him a highly valuable secret method. However, Dovera also observed that Kaide didn't have any armor on, giving the impression that he was a magician. Kaide claimed he needed armor that didn't restrict movement, but Dovera only dealt with metal. As a result, he connected Kaide with a leather goods expert so that Kaide could get leather armor. When Kaide arrived at the store Dovera had recommended, she expected to see a dwarf as the proprietor. Instead, he saw a girl. The girl took Kaide's sword and used it to swing a strike that split a piece of leather in half. As a consequence, she was amazed to see a steel blade of such quality for the first time. The girl advised Kaide to utilize gargan leather, which was similar to metal but lighter, but Kaide instead focused on the impressive armor that was on display, which consumed MP to activate the protection system. Kaide believed this armor would be ideal for his MP, so he offered to try it on and, if it did not fit, he would buy another. As a result, the girl requested Kaide to come tomorrow afternoon after the afternoon bell sounded. Later, the girl brought Kaide to the magic shop across the street, where he bought a wand. Kaide thought the magician who operated this magic shop was highly prominent. The owner dragged Kaide into the booth, which displayed a plethora of eye-catching wands. After hearing the mage introduce himself, Kaide expressed that he wanted a type of stick that would only increase his speed by 3 times because his magic speed was already quite fast. Additionally, he used a sword and shield, so he did not want the wand to be oversized. The mage agreed to make him a wand as requested and set up a pickup time for the next day. Kaide innocently assumed he could cut a 20 cm chunk out of a wand, causing the 2 girls holding their bellies to giggle constantly. They explained that cutting it out was impossible because each element of the wand had its function. Immediately after Kaide joined the guild, Sally advanced him to the rank shortly after he finished the work of gathering Zunana grass and defeating the green wolves. Nevertheless, Kaide needed to complete at least one family task in order to be qualified for promotion. Kaide then took on the work of transporting iron ore, which was a chore that was rarely undertaken. When Kaide questioned Sally on how to calculate the capacity of the equipment box, Sally said that the container depended on the beginning quantity of MP and the capacity depended on the MP point after being opened. After saying goodbye to Sally, Kaide left on a mission. Because he had leveled up, he ran continuously for 20 kilometers to the iron mine, where the area's manager began giving him employment after examining Kaide's membership card. That guy felt Kaide looked so feeble that he couldn't carry the mountain of iron ore, but, after a while, the manager was shocked that the amount of iron ore had decreased by more than half. Kaide put roughly 1,500 kg in the equipment box, while the maximum capacity of the box was 200 kg since Kaide's box had a considerably bigger capacity than usual. The figure had reached 2,012 kg, but Kaide proceeded because he still had 1,000 vacant cells in the equipment box. Everyone in the refinery was in awe when Kaide returned with a total of 10 tons of iron ore to fill the compartment in just one shipment. Sally was delighted, so Kaide was promoted to the F rank. The following day, Kaide came to pick up his armor and wand, which were the final pieces of his equipment. Kaide then went deep into the forest to test out his gear in a battle. The radar screen suddenly revealed the presence of a big pack of blue wolves. Kaide elected to battle them and drank all 3 tubes of magic healing accelerator potion, which would speed up MP recovery by 10 times in 3 hours. The moment the wolves noticed Kaide, both sides charged into battle. Kaide began to activate numerous spells in an attack and then simultaneously employed spears, stones, and fireballs to annihilate them. Kaide killed 513 blue wolves in 3 minutes as the vibration of leveling up to 9 times in a row. As a result, Kaide got 6 extra skills: Earthbending 3, Waterbending 3, Cognitive Magic 3, Destructive Magic 3, and Recovery 3. As Kaide prepared to gather all the wolf carcasses, a huge beast started to emerge from the forest. Kaide arrived at the guild to hand over what he had just killed to Sally, but Sally couldn't help but be shocked by such a large quantity of blue wolves because it was rather unique. Still, Kaide sold the blue wolf carcasses to Sally before going to Dovera's store to repair his sword and shield. Dovera could tell Kaide had hunted the blue wolves by the scratches on the shield and sword, and he could even assume that Kaide was capable of killing hundreds of wolves when he first encountered Kaide. Dovera believed that even if Kaide's stats improved, it would not be enough for Kaide. Dovera fixed the sword after completing maintenance and urged Kaide to switch to a sword created by rare monsters because Kaide needed a special sword. Kaide considered dragons, but Dovera told him that he couldn't afford them and that dragons were legendary monsters whose emergence would be enough to destroy numerous countries and throw the globe into chaos. Dovera suggested Kaide use a blade forged from metal lizards, a scaly B-class monster that was incredibly deadly and powerful. Finding the beast, according to Kaide, would be a thing of the future. The following day, Kaide discovered the guild closed, but on a sign declaring a state of emergency and calling adventurers who could battle to reach the gate in front of the forest. Kaide learned from Sally that the guild was assembling adventurers to combat the swarms of destructive beasts that were advancing on the town. The guild needed to coordinate counterattacks because it was not enough for them to simply protect against the beasts. Despite the fact that Kaide was a rookie adventurer, Sally asked him to support the front row because, at the moment, he was the city's strongest adventurer. Kaide agreed. As everyone gathered before leaving, Kaide rushed out of the gate and into the woods. He was determined to take control of the city from now on. As the target appeared on the radar screen, Kaide began to separate combat methods, using swords on monsters in close range and magic on those further away. Thanks to leveling up, Kaide's power had increased. Suddenly, a massive wild boar charged forward, and despite Kaide's use of a stone spear, he was unable to stop it. Kaide remained on guard while also assessing the frantic beast in front of him, and it took 7 stone spears to lower its blood by 30%. Kaide was startled but didn't give it much thought after the beast abruptly tumbled to its death since he could feel the movement of the other animals as if they were fleeing from something. Kaide jumped up and looked in the direction the monsters were moving, and just as he had suspected, he saw that they were fleeing from the metal lizard Dovera had mentioned. Kaide was about to return and inform everyone when the monster spotted him and began to howl loudly before charging toward its target at breakneck speed. Kaide was certain that he would not be able to flee the beast and that employing a stone spear or physical attack would be futile, so he quickly employed a large-scale wand and fireball, but he was still unable to bring it down. Kaide's leg was broken when the lizard slammed its massive tail into it, but he quickly recovered thanks to his lessons in wound healing. Kaide then reminded himself that he couldn't let his guard down once more and that he couldn't let the monster into the city, and he gritted his teeth in determination to take it down here. Kaide imagined and produced a new magic called lightning magic, but it failed. Kaide calmly reasoned that the magic that had been suppressed may boost firepower, and he compared this to the tank projectiles, which did not require a lot of explosive force to pierce the shell but did require a lot of speed and pressure. The metal lizard's shell was akin to that of a tank, and the only way to get through it was to utilize the pressure magic 3 inches magic. Kaide decided to spend the last 9,000 megapixels on this. He spent 15 minutes mastering the beast's attack routine, then utilized martial arts to read its movements and calculate the direction the beast would splash its tail before knocking it down. After 15 minutes, Kaide was ready to finish the spell. He pointed at the lizard's back and leapt up, using all of his might to wreak great pressure with pressure magic on the creature's back. The lizard roared in pain before collapsing. The deadly blow had left a significant hole in its body. Kaide successfully leveled up and killed a metal lizard himself. On his way back to town, he checked his surroundings with his radar and observed that the monsters had retreated to the forest. Sally ran to Kaide's side, terrified for his life. Sally burst into sobs as Kaide plunged himself into the beasts, and she was astonished to hear Kaide announce he had destroyed a metal lizard. She asked Kaide whether he could use wind magic, because defeating this formidable beast would require at least a C-rank mage to employ firebending and wind skill to kill it. However, Kaide claimed he just punctured its armor with magic, which Sally could not believe. Sally saw Kaide remove the monster's body from the equipment box with her own eyes, which left her in awe. She wanted to inform the guild leader of Kaide's accomplishment, so the two of them headed to the leader's office. The leader praised Kaide and felt guilty for noticing the monster's suspicious behavior, but he didn't respond. As a representative of the guild, he was incredibly grateful and appreciative of Kaide's bravery in battle. To avoid chaos, he ordered Kaide to keep the metal lizard a secret since even if there was information that it had been destroyed, the residents of the village would still be in crisis. Kaide intended to create weapons out of the monster's corpse, but there weren't enough resources in Ain to do it, so the commander introduced Kaide to the dwarves' mine town, blacksmith's town, Herrera. As Kaide made the decision to leave town for that place, he went to see Sally one more time to express his gratitude and expressed his hope of seeing her again in the future before saying goodbye to all who had assisted him. It had been 5 days since Kaide left Ain, and since he had leveled up significantly, his pace was now twice as quick as riding a horse. As a result, he would arrive in Herrera in just under an hour. As soon as Kaide noticed a group of people wandering through the woodland, he became a little suspicious. It turned out that these individuals were criminals who had kidnapped a young girl from Herrera, so Kaide made the decision to engage in combat with them. Kaide created a noise to distract them, then darted down from the tree, using his pressure magic, weak, to deal with them fast, before taking the mesmerized Sumisa, the girl, back towards Herrera. Sumisa's father, Sumizu, convinced Kaide that he was the one who had kidnapped her, but Kaide swiftly revealed that he was the one who had saved their daughter. There were also 2 young guys standing nearby who lifted Sumisa and helped her out of her hypnosis. Sumizu reacted this way because Sumisa had gone into the forest in the morning and had not returned. Sumizu turned to thank Kaide, who said he would try his best to accommodate anything Kaide required as a way of expressing his appreciation to Kaide. Sumizu promised to take Kaide to the shop to dispose of the metal lizard's carcass, but first, he had to go celebrate. As Sumisa recovered consciousness and went to thank Kaide, Kaide kindly inquired about Sumisa's health because she appeared to be conscious. After that, Kaide questioned Sumisa about where the weapons were created and discovered he was at a blacksmith factory. When Sumizu heard this, he ran out to notify the price and claimed he would only accept half of the item because Kaide had saved Sumisa. Kaide didn't have much money left, so he offered to sell the metal lizard's body for money. However, Sumizu and his daughter didn't believe Kaide brought the monster's corpse here since they believed Kaide was intoxicated and making up stories. Then, all of a sudden, Kaide removed the beast's body from the equipment box, leaving everyone in a state of shock. Sumizu then dispatched a person to contact the accounting team, who determined that the quality was perfect and that, after separating all of the metal layers, the price per kilogram would be $3 million. Sumizu and his brothers set to work. Kaide joined in, taking on the chore of burning the lizard's interior with firebending, while Sumizu filtered the scales. Sumizu admired Kaide's magical power. It had to be in the B class in terms of magical power and speed. Then Kaide discussed the wand, but Sumizu chastised Kaide's 20 cm wand for being too short and suggested that when he had money, he should upgrade to a quicker one. Kaide didn't realize until that moment that the material of the wand also affected the speed of magic, and he could obviously manufacture a new wand out of this metal lizard. However, Sumizu warned that construction would take time and advised Kaide to go to Sumisa's shop for a new wand. Then Sumisa reached out to Kaide to assist him in creating a 20 cm long wand that moved at the same speed as the others. Sumisa described how each wand was made up of 4 distinct parts: the magic receiving portion, the magic acceleration section, the magic output part, and the outside shell. The acceleration part had 2 layers. Large amounts of magic traffic were concentrated in the outer layer, while the core contained high-quality magic that accelerated the rotation of magic. If the shell used materials with a high magic capacity and used better materials for both layers of magic rotation, it would be possible to improve the quality of magic. Kaide eagerly displayed a wand that could be used as a sword and had the speed of a long wand, leaving Sumisa speechless. The wand in Kaide's description was 80 centimeters long with a magic container that could perform hundreds of spells equivalent to the total MP of 3 mages. Sumisa found Kaide's idea crazy but interesting, which made her excitedly agree to create it. While waiting for Sumisa to finish the wand, Kaide embarked on a mission in Herrera. As an E rank, his job was to defeat the Red Wolves. While exploring Herrera's landscape, Kaide discovered a bunch of criminals hiding in a nearby cave, so he returned to alert the head of the Herrera Adventurers Guild. The leader guessed that it was an organized crime gang and, after checking the facts, would reward Kaide. Because it was unclear whether or not someone without a criminal record was working with the guild, the leader chose Kaide to join a squad of adventurers to track down the other gang. Kaide reached out to Sumisa again, expecting to try out new equipment, but his gear wasn't done. Seeing that this workshop didn't have coal to smelt, Kaide devised a method of producing coke by removing air during the heating process. Sumisa, who knew nothing about oil, referred Kaide to Igni's fuel shop. So, when Kaide arrived, he conveyed the concept of generating new fuel, offering to cover all of the costs of this experiment and, if successful, offering to sell it to Igni. Later, Kaide learned how to make coke with the aid of Igni. The following morning, Kaide joined the party of 7 adventurers who had been dispatched by the guild. Magus, a wind wizard of rank B and the operations commander, started by verifying the details of the base and the size of the criminal organization while advising everyone to act with caution. Everyone announced themselves in turn. C rank Valen, D rank Zenshi, and E rank Ino were all swordsmen. D rank Yukoku bow wielder. E rank Hankis spear user. And finally, Kaide, who identified himself as an E-class magic swordsman. Everyone was skeptical of Kaide's talents after hearing that, so Magus expressed his desire to see Kaide's ability to utilize swords and magic. Kaide arrived at the training field, eager to demonstrate his skills. He expertly used his sword to deliver a devastating blow and then utilized stone spears and fireball magic to level a portion of the practice field. Kaide was going to use magic twice when Magus urged him to stop since they were so impressed by his prowess. Magus questioned how Kaide could be both defensive and keep his magic up. Thus, Kaide calmly said that he could use healing magic and utilize magic continuously for 20 feet without running out of MP. Everyone was astounded for a second time when they heard it and perplexed because Kaide was still in E-class. Magus admitted to losing all trust in his abilities in comparison to Kaide's, so he put Kaide in the vanguard when they went to battle. Then the team entered the criminal group's hideout. After deliberation, they agreed that Valen and Kaide ought to stand in the front row, Magus in the back, and the other 4 should be in the area obstructing the criminals' retreat. Kaide used a stone spear to knock down 2 gatekeepers. Before Magus could take the initiative, Kaide dashed into the cave at breakneck speed and proceeded effortlessly thanks to the map on the radar. As soon as he saw them, Kaide used the analysis skill and the magic pressure skill to take down and quickly destroy the lair. Valen and Magus hurried to catch up with Kaide, while 3 individuals stood in front of the gate, blocking the entrance. Magus was about to shatter the door when Kaide used his magic spear to successfully break the door into the enemy nest. The criminals were killed by Kaide's stone spears before they could turn around. The vibration of leveling up was heard again. Once outdoors, Kaide couldn't believe he had just finished the assignment so fast and simply. Magus ordered the team members to gather the criminals' assets. Suddenly, a message appeared on the radar screen, and Kaide spotted a group of 7 people, including a child, entering the area. He recognized this as an abduction. They had just arrived at the cave gate when they were assaulted by members of the ambush team. Kaide quickly dealt with the criminal holding the infant and saved it. When Kaide checked the child's parameters later using the analysis skill, he was startled to see that this parameter was so dissimilar from others. The little girl's name was Ria. She belonged to a rare elf clan, was of unknown age, had no MP, and had 2 magic-related skills: use external magic, and control magic 17 inches that allowed her to control the magic of others, which left Kaide feeling crazy. Ria suddenly got up and asked who Kaide was. Meanwhile, Magus had apprehended the culprits and dashed to Kaide to inquire about the situation. Ria unbound herself and used the using external magic skill to use Kaide's magical energy, but not only was there no signal, but Kaide's MP score was not reduced either, so Kaide was perplexed. Ria clung to Kaide and returned to the guild, and there was little the staff could do when Ria insisted on being with Kaide, so they asked Kaide to look after Ria while they investigated her identification. Kaide brought Ria with him, and they proceeded to an inn to rest. There, he was lost in thought and quickly fell asleep. When Kaide awoke, he noticed Ria seated right in front of him, but then she awoke, sensing Kaide's magical energy flow. Kaide headed to Igni's fuel store, where he had some success with coke coal. When Igni observed Ria, Kaide told him that he was in charge of looking after her while the guild discovered who she was. Ria soon felt confident that she could fight with Kaide. Igni then led Kaide to the coke furnace, where he utilized a burner that hadn't been used in a while and was still in the testing phase, causing a gas leak. Kaide assumed mithril metal was pricey, but in Herrera, mithril could be found everywhere, from walls to rocks. Mithril made up 30% of the ore on the continent, and while it wasn't as pure as other ores, it was still half pure. Kaide was trying to figure out how to deal with gas leaks when Ria, much to the amazement of both Kaide and Igni, utilized magic to deal with them quickly. Ria had used magic to melt mithril and use it to weld into the opening. Ria was not acting normally, as Kaide could see. Kaide tried to give Ria an example of what was normal, by bending the mithril piece with his bare hands, but this was not even typical. Miyaz, the fuel store's accountant, admired Kaide and wanted to confer with him about paying for the technology used in coke manufacturing. Coke coil. according to Miya's, was a superb fuel that, due to its high temperature, could better refine mithril, boosting efficiency by 30 times. Miya's kept talking about the benefits of coke production and offered to divide 50% of the earnings with Kaide. After reaching an agreement with Kaide, Miya's was delighted. Everything occurred quickly, so Kaide was a little worried, wondering how it would play out the next time. Kaide was a little curious about how weapons were made at Sumisa's location, but he was frightened of being misunderstood, so he chose to wait patiently. In the meantime, Ria was eager to go on an adventure and battle monsters. She possessed a hairpin charm that employed synthetic magic to negate any attack on the wearer and sucked away the magical energy of anyone with ill intentions. Kaide thought the power was ridiculous, wondering how Ria had obtained the blessed hairpin. Then the two went into the forest, completing the harvesting Fiaro grass task, an F-rank mission. Ria did not succumb to Kaide. Instead, she used Kaide's analysis skill to locate the location where Kaide's magic was focused on selecting Fiaro grass. Ria abruptly released a stone needle, sensing a monster at a distance of 100 meters. They were red wolves, who were immediately dispatched by Ria's needles. Kaide felt like she used reflected sound waves because of the monsters, and his special magic made it easy for Ria to find them. Ria didn't fully use her magic. She took Kaide's magic and then controlled it to aim at the target. However, Kaide's stone spear magic is unusual and complex, so if Ria tries to control it, she will lose control. Kaide gradually understood that Ria was a magician who cheated by skillful control, and he himself was a magic swordsman who cheated by materialization. His magic control is complicated, Ria's firepower is weak. If he created magic with great firepower and Ria used it with precise control, it would make the two of them invincible. At the same time, a large number of red wolves were approaching Kaide and Ria's position. Kaide felt that the appearance of the wolves was very suitable because he wanted to enjoy the fighting style when the two of them worked together. Kaide's MP points do not decrease when Ria is using his magic to perform her magic because Ria only uses the wasted magic that Kaide releases while performing. Additionally, Ria cannot control her magic over things like sources of magical power. Kaide realized that he did not fully understand how to use magic. Kaide thinks that if he practices he will be able to control magic like Ria, but even if he has magical qualities, he will not be able to use magic without proper control. Ria brought up the key issue that although Kaide did not know how to control magic, he could still use magic because he used force to activate it. Kaide now understood that it was necessary to combine the two conditions, imagination and environment, to activate his magic. He also realized the reason he couldn't use lightning magic was because the environment didn't support it. Ria made a sandwich herself. She used the salty flavor from under the ground to season the sandwich to make it taste very delicious. Everyone in the guild in Herrera was so surprised that they were speechless when Kaide and Ria brought back more than 4,000 Fiaro plants and more than 300 red wolves. An employee of the association announced that they could not find Ria's parents, nor could they find any city that could potentially be her home, and it was not the case that Ria was a special species and should be expelled. Kaide feels that all information about Ria is very mysterious. Ria only remembers being in the forest, unable to find magical energy, a very far away place not on this continent. Association staff added that if they cannot find a volunteer to take care of Ria, she will have to go to an orphanage. Ria reacted violently, not wanting to be separated from Kaide. Kaide was extremely awkward. He couldn't push Ria away because he felt like he was betraying everyone's kindness, but he also couldn't take Ria on an expedition with him because it was too dangerous. If she encounters weak monsters, it will be okay, but if Kaide is forced to use all her magic power, Ria will have to depend on that power and she cannot use her own magic. Kaide does not guarantee 100% that everything will be safe because everything is unpredictable. Kaide wanted more time to think to make a decision. He told Ria that he wouldn't leave to reassure her. The next day, Ria prepared herself enthusiastically to go on a mission. Kaide did not object, but he needed to go to Sumisa's place first. Kaide's wand is complete. The wand can be used as a sword called Sorcerer's Blade. Kaide was extremely interested in this weapon. He went to the training ground to use magic from it. Ria was able to see the magical energy from the sword. Kaide felt a distinct difference when using it because his magical energy was being sucked out. The magic stone spear was shot from the Witchblade at extremely fast speed. Kaide's eyes could keep up with that speed and it could kill a red wolf at a distance of 1 kilometer. Kaide used 100 megapixels when performing the magic just now, and that amount of MP was equal to the total MP of 5 magicians combined. Sumisa passes on Miya's message to Kaide. Miya's informed Kaide that the coal production equipment was ready and was going into production. The store's output increased rapidly thanks in part to the Miners' Association. Miya's went with Kaide and Ria to the production site, where there were many dwarves working hard. Miners' Association President Gaynor expressed his gratitude to Kaide for helping his employees have a safe workplace to avoid the strange disease. Infected people will only be able to work 3 hours and then have to take the rest of the day off, affecting work progress. Kaide offers to help Gaynor investigate this disease. Gaynor happily said that if Kaide investigated, this matter would progress. Kaide didn't want Ria to go to a place with toxic gas, so she told her to stay. Ria discovered that there were many things, floating, from the direction of the coal mine, where a large number of infected people were. Ria felt the floating thing also in the pale man working over there. After analyzing Kaide, she partly understood the cause of the disease. This bad energy, according to Ria, comes from monsters. Kaide and Ria head towards the mine. Kaide runs and Ria flies. Ria's abilities are reduced when entering a mine with obstacles around. Kaide's Rada has no problem, so he uses it to detect information. The floating stuff spreads strongly, 30 centimeters below the ground. Kaide and Ria dig together to see what exactly is underneath. Kaide touched a hard object. Ria thought it was part of an ancient structure, a magic wall. 10 minutes later Kaide charged the magic. He used pressure magic to break it, but the thing was still not broken, not even a scratch. The ground suddenly collapsed. Kaide slipped and fell. Ria rushed to rescue her, but she couldn't fly due to too much pressure. Kaide had to tell Ria to release him to try to land safely. Kaide fell freely and couldn't see the bottom. If she didn't use recovery magic, it would be difficult to survive. In the last 3 seconds before landing, Kaide picked up all the debris before it hit him. Kaide landed safely and so did Ria. After Ria turned on the light, Kaide saw clearly that this place was a large space with nothing but walls. Ria felt the strong magical energy of this place. Kaide wanted to return to the guild to report, but with the wall's height and terrifying thickness, it was not easy to escape. The two went in the opposite direction of where that thing's energy was coming from. After walking for a while, Kaide discovered that the structure of this place was shaped like a donut and they walked in a circle. Ria sensed something strange from a part of the wall, where there was a door that was resistant to magic, so Kaide's radar couldn't detect it. In just 1 second, Ria opened the door to Kaide's surprise. Suddenly, winged animals flew out from inside. They shot needles at the two of them, but as soon as they got close, they were disabled and fell down. Kaide used Witchblade to defeat them. The needles of the animals just now had weak magic power, so the magic they released was dispersed when they got close to Kaide. Kaide relied on analysis to know that these monsters were actually magic tools designed to destroy intruders called Flying Eyes, and the door just now was called Magic Resistance Door. Low level. Both of them have trespassed into an ancient relic and are about to face an unknown monster. There were 8 other doors behind the main door. Kaide and Ria split up to check each room, but there was nothing in them. Apart from the Flying Eyes, there is no path to the source of magical energy. Kaide and Ria went down to the research facility area. In front of them was a door with a warning written on it: all illegal intrusions will be eliminated. The door was opened. Kaide quickly used her shield to fight off the needles from the Flying Eyes, but he was hit once. Then flying eyes of different colors appeared. There were mechanical wolves and a giant flying mechanical snake. Kaide realized that the snake was the cause of everything. He shouted for Ria to turn around and run away. Ria asked to borrow Kaide's stone spear magic, but it had no effect. These monsters did not make any sound. Kaide did not use magic but used swords to deal with them. The sword slashes from the Witchblade easily defeated them. Kaide felt very mysterious when his magic had no effect. Based on analysis, Kaide knew that the metal that made up the monsters was military magic-resistant steel, Type 2. Ria borrowed a magic spear, Kaide's stone, and using it to control and attack insects of different colors, Kaide confronts the wolves. The snake is the most complicated thing. It throws its tail so hard it destroys everything, including insects or wolves. The snake almost went crazy and began to change. Kaide and Ria ran towards the door to retreat, but the snake rushed forward and destroyed the door. Ria thought it was necessary to break the snake's wings with a fireball. Kaide charged magic up to 700 megapixels to create a giant fireball aimed at it, but the snake hid its wings. Ria couldn't control it this time. Only Kaide could shoot it. He decided to increase his magic power 20 times according to Ria's words to attack again. Kaide and Ria worked together, only charging half the required power, but they defeated all the other magic artifacts except the snake. The ceiling was gradually cracking under the terrible destruction of the snake. Kaide and Ria were still planning their attack when the ceiling was gradually collapsing. The two had no way to cope, so they had to run to the end of the room and find a way out. Ahead was a dead end, the deepest part. The snake continued to rush forward. Kaide quickly thought of a way to buy time to recharge her magic energy, but everything seemed impossible. Ria asked Kaide to pray for fire. The blessing hairpin was neutralizing the damage to her body. Kaide created a giant fireball. Ria used all her strength to control the ball and aim at the snake. Kaide took the opportunity to rush forward and swing the witchblade at the monster. The metal layer on the snake's body is very hard, but Kaide is determined not to waste it because this is the last chance Ria has. He used all his strength to make a strong slash at the beast's head, causing it to collapse immediately. The leveling vibration rang out. Although the snake's magic power had not disappeared right now, Ria predicted it would disappear in a week. Ria risked her life when she used the talisman to prevent the magic from getting out of control. Kaide thought that after this incident Ria had improved her skills. He felt that having a companion by her side would be better than going alone, so they both agreed to go on adventures together as two friends from now on. Kaide and Ria returned to the guild to report. Kaide brought out the magic artifacts he had defeated. Flying eyes, equivalent to E-rank monsters. Blue flying eyes, equivalent to a D-rank monster. The blue steel wolf, a B-rank monster, and finally the giant mechanical snake, the source of the epidemic. The receptionists in the guild were amazed by Kaide's feats. The guild did not know about Snake No. 1, a medium-sized destruction machine, so Kaide did not reveal any more information about it. The receptionists were surprised to learn that Kaide also defeated 30 blue steel wolves and that the steel snake was equal to an A-rank monster. Kaide felt like he would be promoted to B rank in the near future. The next morning, Kaide came to the factory to announce that the epidemic in the mine had been handled by him. Gainter and Miyaz could not believe what they had just heard. Switching to the topic of coke, the issue of preventing the leakage of manufacturing technology to the outside world was discussed. The Basith Kingdom, where it is now, will trade coke as a technological revolution that will change the face of the country. Kaide was still an adventurer who wanted to continue the adventure ahead, so he decided to receive a percentage of the profits and transfer authority to the Miners' Association instead of focusing on business in the capital. A week later, Kaide confirmed to the guild that she would take care of Ria, and he was also given the title of Young Adventurer and was quickly promoted to first rank. Kaide and Ria go to Sumisa's place. Kaide noticed that Ria's lucky hairpin had turned dark black since they left the ruins. Ria said her clip was fully charged within 2 days thanks to Kaide's magical energy instead of 30 years. Sumisa arrives to announce that the removal of the magical energy in the metal lizard's metal has been completed and that Kaide can use it to create equipment. Detecting something unusual, Kaide felt like something had just disappeared. Ria saw that about 100 kilometers away, a terrible magic had just disappeared. Kaide believes that this is an extremely large magic, something stronger than the snake in the ruins. Kaide and Ria decided to go to Orthian, a town behind a mountain that is considered a maze that often has B-level monsters appearing. Kaide and Ria said goodbye to everyone in Herrera and left for Orthian. Ria saw a monster ahead, a herd of aggressive crabs. Kaide intended not to take action to get to that town as soon as possible, but those monsters aroused Kaide's interest, so he changed his mind to destroy them. It turned out that Kaide was craving crab, so she changed her mind. To their right, more monsters appeared, this time brown-winged cockroaches, which made Kaide so nauseous that she ran away. The two arrived at Orthian town. The guard guessed that Kaide was quite strong when looking at his witchblade. The reason why Orthian has so many monsters is because this town is surrounded by 4 forests that all have many monsters. Recently, the monsters of one forest started running away to the next forest. The guild in Orthian also knew the reason for the monsters' relocation but did not take any other action. Kaide also remembered that the guild in Ain and Herrera also hid the matter of the metal lizard and the bandits. The earthquake caused Ria to jump in fear and jump on Kaide. Kaide and Ria entered the city gate, admiring the architecture of Orthian, a place known as the town of ancient relics and hot springs. Kaide rented a large room in Dai Tuan. The price for one night here was 10 times more than Herrera. Ria used magic to boil the 4 claw crabs and then ate them deliciously with Kaide. After eating, Ria went to bed and Kaide went to enjoy the hot springs. Kaide soaked in the hot water pool and felt relaxed. There was a noise. Kaide thought it was an earthquake, but it was Ria's voice. She opened the door and rushed straight into the lake. Taking advantage of Ria's sleep, Kaide went to the Orthian Branch Adventurers Guild to perform the quest, find out why the monsters evacuated. Kaide wanted to check the forest and bring back information, but to avoid duplicating data, he went to the association's receptionist to ask, but the receptionist was an intern, so she didn't know clearly about the problem Kaide mentioned. Kaide was a bit skeptical as the guild seemed to be hiding many things even from their employees. Kaide still did not stop. He continued to say that he wanted to learn about the disappearance of a huge source of magical energy around the town and that it was definitely related to an artifact in the forest. Before Kaide could finish his sentence, a woman with long hair who seemed to be a high-ranking employee of the association invited him along because she was interested in hearing his speculations. That woman's name is Lucia. Kaide said that he and Ria felt like the huge source of magical energy had disappeared. Based on her guess, Kaide informed about the appearance of Kaide and Ria. Kaide was a bit skeptical because that huge source of magical energy was an artifact. Lucia was informed why information about him and Ria spread so quickly. Lucia says the information about the artifact is kept secret by an outsider and Kaide suspects this outsider as a powerful person like the Lord. The guild's handling of a crisis like the current situation on its own is low level, but Kaide feels like things aren't that simple. Lucia saw that Kaide wanted to find out what was going on, so she let him take her place there. On the way back, Kaide thought he needed to track down the destroyed artifact in the forest to find the information he needed. Kaide and Ria go to the forest where the magic source disappeared while hunting monsters and searching for traces of artifacts. Ria found it a bit difficult to sense the corrupted magical artifacts, and she also sensed there was a lot of strange energy around. Both of them worked together smoothly to destroy monsters. Kaide launched magic with stone spears and fireballs, and Ria directed those magics to target wolves and ferocious wild boars. Ria killed the monsters so fast that Kaide didn't have time to pick up the items in the equipment box. Kaide tried to improve her magic control but failed. Ria suggested that Kaide use acceleration magic to move faster. He thought he could transmit magic through his entire body and accelerate it, so he started doing it. The first time the magic power emitted was too little, so nothing happened. The second time Kaide concentrated on her imagination, so the magic power radiated out immediately at the speed of an arrow. Kaide suddenly realized that his cloak had the ability to absorb magic to strengthen his defense and that the suit on his body was always activated by his own magic power. It can be understood that the suit will be stronger the higher Kaide's MP is. Kaide reminded herself to try to practice acceleration magic while exploring the forest and exterminating monsters. Kaide continued to try the speed magic 5 times. He was confident that he could use it fluently from now on. Ria determines her goal to help Kaide. While rushing towards the beast, Kaide understood the working mechanism of the acceleration magic. To use at the right time, continuously turn on and off magic until you get close to the target, then use acceleration magic, and successfully defeat the monster. Ria sensed something powerful near their area. In the middle of the forest there is a lid with an eye-catching pattern similar to the one in the ruins at Herrera that contains unpredictable magical power. After opening the lid, Kaide and Ria went down to investigate, and down there was a complete battlefield. The two returned to town to meet Lucia and report the situation. Kaide found traces of burning worthless items, but there was an artifact that looked like a pedestal that made him think it was what caused the recent strange phenomenon. Kaide added that there were also remnants of magic stones nearby, and when he examined the platform, he learned that it was part of something. Kaide concluded that the other area was an auxiliary facility with a separate system and that the recent strange phenomenon probably originated from the destruction of the magic stone. Lucia fell into thought, asking if both Kaide and Ria had analytical skills. Kaide remained silent and did not respond. Lucia had heard about Kaide's miracle in handling the epidemic and opening the mine, so she was sure that Kaide's team had someone with advanced investigation skills. Kaide spoke up and admitted that the skill came from him. Lucia now trusts Kaide after he revealed his information. Kaide hoped the guild would agree to share the information they were keeping hidden. The next morning, Kaide was invited inside by the guild staff to inform him that he had been nominated by archaeologist Fione for the task of escort and assist in exploring the newly discovered ruins. Kaide guessed it was Lucia's doing, so he didn't refuse. Kaide and Ria arrived at a square white house that looked like a piece of tofu. Ria felt the source of magic connected to the door. Kaide was extremely cautious and was about to enter when Fiona, a beastman, came out to greet them. Fione was the one who nominated Kaide to investigate the ruins. Kaide secretly thought that Fione's straight-to-the-point way of talking was definitely Lucia's intervention. Although the association manages information in a certain way, Lucia circumvented the rules to let him know the information in another way. Fiona revealed that in those ruins there were many traps and scary monsters. To conquer the ruins, you can use the help of treasures. Fiona uses Ria's hairpin as an example. Each powerful artifact can only be used by the person designed for the special treasure to have its own unique identifier, and with high-level artifacts, the owner is assigned to the owner at the time of their existence, so no one can be used outside the owner. Fione judged Ria's blessing hairpin to be the most elaborate magic tool she had ever seen. Kaide and Fione negotiate. Kaide can take all the treasures in the ruins in exchange for helping Fione explore it for at least 3 days. Kaide is surprised that Fiona has the ability to analyze artifacts. Kaide gradually understood the problem. Lucia was not allowed to reveal information, so she let Fione go exploring with him, then he would get information about the treasures. All 3 people set off immediately after that. The ruins are a cave under a hot spring. Ria senses that there are many magic tools inside. Kaide tries all the traps, thinking there will definitely be magic traps. Fione gave Kaide a magic tool and told him to go first, she and Ria would follow. The magic tool given by Fione has the ability to neutralize one critical attack for the user and can only be activated once every 72 hours. Fione has no skills or treasures to help neutralize traps, so everyone relies on Kaide's high defense stats. The 3 entered the cave. Kaide took the lead, he stepped on a switch. An arrow was shot from above, aiming at Kaide but could not hurt him. Kaide realized that there were both physical and magical traps in this cave. He used information analysis to eliminate the physical traps. The magic traps were also very well hidden. Both Fione and Kaide had difficulty seeing them, so they had to rely on Ria to find them. To neutralize the magic traps, Ria suggests that Kaide needs to step on the traps because there are some blocking the path, so she must be able to dodge if she doesn't want to step on them. Fiona disagrees with Ria. Kaide tried stepping on a trap and nothing happened. The reason was because Kaide's magic power was so strong that it destroyed the trap's magic power. The 3 people continued walking and stopped in front of a door. Fione thought there wouldn't be a trap behind the door because the ruins usually used to be some kind of facility, so the creators of this area wouldn't have placed traps in the room. But it cannot be ruled out that there may be a trap set if this place is a military facility. Fione believes that the person who used this room has run away from this facility and may have set a trap here. Fione continued to explain that there were traps in the hallway, so the treasure would be somewhere, and that even without the treasure, the ruins were an important thing worth researching. They can discover valuable things behind secret doors. The 3 of them moved together to the deepest part of the ruins. The path there became increasingly narrow and the atmosphere gradually changed because the walls were too high. Ria sensed a strange weak magic source ahead of them. Kaide stepped on what was supposed to be the trigger switch and the classic trap appeared. A huge metal wheel the width of the walkway was rolling quickly from behind them. Kaide used magic to create a hole that fits the stone wall, to stop the wheel before they were crushed by it, but failed. Kaide calculated a plan to create distance. They saw a room on the left. On the ceiling of the room there was something that neutralized magic. With no choice left, the 3 of them turned into that room and the door slammed shut. They fall into the trap. Kaide used pressure magic to break the door, but it was so strong that it didn't shake. The square cover on the ceiling fell down. One by one the square blocks with tank tracks were dropped. They were artifacts, Type 3 crushers. The crushers rushed at them with great force, however the speed according to Kaide's assessment is quite slow. Kaide used Witchblade and acceleration magic to rush at them, but it had no effect on that thick layer of metal. Kaide deflects the movement trajectory of these artifacts by crashing into the wheel, causing them to rotate in a circle. Kaide summoned large stone spears that successfully defeated the crushing machines. Ria picks up a magic stone, the magical core of the artifacts that Kaide just destroyed. 3 people entered a room. Everything around was ruined due to the destruction of the metal wheel. Fiona sadly regretted those precious documents. Kaide moved the metal wheel. Underneath it was a sword. This sword is not an ordinary one because according to Fione, it is the gravity sword. It has great power and can increase gravity when swung. Lifting such a huge sword is not easy, but Kaide can hold it easily. Fione announced that today's exploration was over, she just needed someone to remove the traps and then would go to study the ruins in detail in the near future. On the way back, Fione accidentally stepped on a trap that activated the block-crushing machines. Kaide also took this opportunity to try out the gravity sword. The machines began to rush forward. Kaide rushed out with her sword. He realized that the weight of the sword did not slow down his speed. The only thing that was enhanced here was the power of gravity. The true power of the gravity sword appears when Kaide swings it down. The extremely terrible destructive power was stronger than the witch's blade, causing the crushing machines to be cut in half. Kaide was extremely interested in this sword. Returning to Fione's house, after research, Fione confirmed that the ruins had no connection to the earthquake. Fione mentions a name. Radamkos von Orthian. This person is not a lord but a successor and everyone calls him trash. Fione said that 1 month ago, after the current lord, Forzel went to the capital Radamkos and became the temporary lord. He began to impose unreasonable taxes, take people's wealth, and unjustly accuse and kill people. However, Radamkos' murders occurred in a confrontation, so they were not considered crimes. Kaide remembered that the rule in this world is that even if you kill your opponent in a duel, it will not be considered a crime. The person who ordered the blockade of the association's information was Radamkos. Although it was only Fione's guess, she thought he was the one who stopped the earthquake investigators. Fione directly expressed that he wanted Kaide to kill Radamkos. Kaide did not give an answer right away, he needed time to think. Leaving Fione's house, Kaide thought he needed to verify her words before accepting the request. Kaide accidentally encountered the lord on the road. Kaide asked a villager about the despicable things Radamkos was doing. He sought prey from the poor people, raising taxes unexpectedly. If they couldn't pay, he would take away their wealth and goods. The people also reminded Kaide not to think about stopping that demon because he would force his prey into a duel to the death. Kaide was now able to confirm Fione's words about this demon in human form. Radamkos heard the other person call him trash. He challenged him to a fight and gave the other person a second option, which is to pay 50 times more taxes. Rhea couldn't stand the horrible smell on Radamkos. She uttered a disparaging sentence that made everyone couldn't help but laugh. Radamkos was both embarrassed and angry. He intended to grab Rhea to deal with her. Having no other choice, Kaide used her mediocre acting skills to appear as a weak and disheveled E-rank adventurer and provoked him. Radamkos went crazy. He challenged Kaide to a fight on the street. The two sides set a condition. If Kaide wins, all taxes will return to normal levels, and if Radamkos wins, he will take all of Kaide's assets and feed his body to the monsters. A few seconds before starting, Kaide was a bit scared when she learned that Radamkos was a C-rank adventurer. Radamkos rushed in. Kaide used Dovera's steel shield to swing at Radamkos, causing him to fly a long distance, rolling on the ground unable to move. Stand up. The surrounding people cheered Kaide to finish him off. Radamkos's face was drained of a drop of blood and he begged Kaide to spare his life. Kaide took this moment to question him about the reason for hiding information about the association. Radamkos honestly said he was instructed to do so by John Doe, a member of Modern Rocket. This organization has the goal of destroying all artifacts. Radamkos urgently declared. Kaide did not feel any pity for this demon. He was about to swing his sword to finish him off when Forzel, his father, appeared. Forzel does not want to let Kaide kill her son in the fight. Although the condition is that one of them must die, Kaide does not need to kill him herself. Radamkos was charged because he kidnapped and held his younger brother Matomkos captive. Forzel did not want to waste words with Radamkos, so he ordered his guards to take him to execution. The issues about the artifacts still had no answers. The three of them went to the association after the information blockade was lifted. All information is posted on the bulletin board at a rapid pace. The monsters near Orthian are acting abnormally because the artifact that restrained the volcano's eruption was destroyed, leading to an increase in earthquakes. The 15 culprits who destroyed the artifacts of the Anti-Artifact Association were executed. That organization was destroyed but its remnants remained. Investigations are still ongoing, further information will be updated. Fione thinks it is necessary to find the remaining artifacts and protect them from destruction because she has made a comparison between the artifact that Kaide and Rhea found with the different Orthian ruins. Kaide thought that the underground ruins that were closed by a lid that could suppress magic power were about to be opened and that the Modern Rocket organization would open the entrance and from there they would be able to determine their location, to end the chaos. After deciding to wait for the other organization to open the door to the ruins, the three of them, Kaide, Ria and Fione, spent some time resting at a hot spring. Fiona and Ria were curious about the generator they found in the ruins. Suddenly there was a strong earthquake that surprised them. Ria felt like there was a magic source that was fighting something but failed at the moment the earthquake occurred. Kaide thinks the remaining artifacts are becoming too overwhelmed to prevent the volcano from erupting. Fiona theorizes that the artifacts are corrupted, which Kaide thinks is unreasonable. Fione believes that only large stone artifacts are damaged, and the magical core of the Type 3 crusher in the ruins is an example. However, the artifact that resists volcanic eruptions is activated at all times, so it is not impossible to be damaged. Kaide thought about how the magical artifacts couldn't stop the earthquake because the magical energy was gradually depleted, so it could be refilled by injecting his magic. To describe an example, Kaide accidentally broke the magic core. The next day, the town scene was chaotic. Kaide thought it was because of last night's earthquake, but Fione thought that the association provided new information that was why everyone became so chaotic. All three took a side route to get to the association. The announcement was made. 3 people in black cloaks believed to be members of Modern Rocket were captured in the ruins of Orthion, but they committed suicide before being questioned. The association concluded that there were 4 to 5 artifacts around Orthio. If the second artifact was destroyed, there would be a terrible disaster and people would need to urgently evacuate. Finally, the guild calls on all adventurers to assist the people and stop the Modern Rocket. Ria says there are 4 artifacts restraining the volcano, making it look like Orthion. Kaide felt something was wrong. He let Fiona and Ria write the word Orthion together, but the word Ria wrote used ancient characters. Kaide thought deeply and concluded that Ria came from an ancient people. Ria doesn't remember anything about where she lived except there were a lot of people flying. Fiona is excited to learn that Ria may be from an ancient clan. Ria sensed that the lid had been opened, and she was able to determine the location of the artifact. Kaide and Ria go on their way while Fiona stays behind to support the people. Going deep into the forest, Kaide discovered men wearing black cloaks and that man also discovered him. Kaide used a stone spear to stop him from running away. Ria controlled the tip of the spear and stabbed him, killing him. Ria felt the lid being closed again. Kaide used information analysis to track it down. Kaide rushed underground. Both he and Ria determined to deal with the criminals and traps in one go. Kaide used pressure magic to quickly defeat the enemy. He and Ria easily overcome the traps, approaching the door where behind it lies a very dangerous trap. The criminals of the organization were waiting for Kaide and Ria, but they did not expect that Kaide could destroy the wall made of hard steel. Kaide used acceleration magic, causing the wall to collapse in just 1 second. He entered and quickly rained stone spears down to finish off the criminals. Inside the room, the men in black were trying to destroy the magic stone of the artifact that prevented the volcano from erupting. Kaide used a stone spear to stop them in time, and he began to question these people. The 2 subordinates of the organization said that the leader Yog would not abandon them. They considered Yog as a saint and had great faith that Yog would finish Kaide. They enticed Kaide to join the organization because they thought he was interested in destroying artifacts. Kaide continued to ask where they had heard about a team going to destroy a flying artifact in Herrera. The group of people from the organization resolutely did not answer. They prayed in unison for Yog to come and help. Kaide was busy thinking about how to escort them to the guild when a terrifying monster suddenly appeared at the door. The monster is a voracious demon with an extremely hideous appearance. The organization's subordinates believe that it embodies Yog's message to save them. Kaide threw her spear and kick at those people as they were running towards the monster. But a scary thing happened, that is, the monster sent out tentacles and then swept up the subordinates, dropped them into its mouth and chewed them greedily. Kaide used analysis to know that the more this monster ate, the stronger it would become. It had 3 million health, so he had to quickly destroy it first. Kaide's attention fell on an item from the black cloaks. Based on analysis, Kaide discovered that the organization was tricking them because that item did not have the power to destroy the magic stone. The artifact they wanted to destroy is another thing. Kaide has a hunch that the other organization is destroying another artifact right now and a disaster will strike. Kaide and Ria defeated the monster as quickly as possible, but it was not easy. The monster is very strong. Although its health does not regenerate, it can regenerate its tentacles. Kaide was very confused, but then he remembered a technique in FPS games that helps shoot guns faster than usual. putting away and quickly holding the gun again. Instead of continuing to swing his kum, Kaide used the equipment box to put it away, then take it out again and repeat continuously until he successfully defeated the monster. Kaide discovered a stone under the corpse of the voracious demon. It was a C-class sealing stone to contain small monsters, and it seemed that the demon was brought here with this stone. Kaide and Ria seemed to be racing against time. After going outside to confirm the ruins were about to be destroyed, the two of them confronted the Black Cloaks. The closer you get to the ruins, the stronger and more numerous the enemies become. Kaide used a stone spear to aim at them, but the steel wall they created protected them. The 6 people in the other organization have formidable strength. The attacks they launched were all carefully calculated, proving that it was not a newly formed group. Kaide did not flinch because of that. He dodged the cleverly coordinated attacks of the 3 groups who rushed forward, then coldly pulled out the gravity sword, and stabbed the one-eyed guy through the body, causing him to die right there. The remaining 2 guys were startled, they chased after Kaide. Kaide had made a calculation. He observed a guy using a steel shield to block his stone spears, and his goal was to pull them away from him. The remaining 2 men were also stabbed to death by spears. Kaide continued to attack. They used steel shields to defend. They turned their attack to Ria. Ria has the ability to use other people's magic, so she was able to copy their magic and create a steel wall shield to protect herself. Kaide used the gravity sword to try to strike a strong blow at their steel wall. The wall could not hold and burst, and the long-haired guy also died. Ria also finished dealing with the remaining 2 guys. These 6 enemies have more formidable power than the enemies they have faced before. There wasn't much time left, and the 2 immediately ran towards the artifact. At this moment, the volcano began to erupt violently. Kaide thought that the artifact had been destroyed but quickly denied that thought because he did not feel any magic power disappear. Kaide felt like he was missing something. Kaide asked Ria to create a steel shield, at which point the volcano erupted. Shock waves rushed in, another earthquake occurred, but fortunately both of them were safe. The entrance to the ruins was blocked by rocks. Kaide hoped it wouldn't affect the space below. The streams of volcanic debris were moving very fast, although they were not heading towards the city, but if there were further earthquakes, Kaide did not dare to imagine what would happen. Kaide needs to go make sure the artifacts are safe. Kaide and Ria entered the room containing the artifact. Everything around them had been deformed. Everything around the room was nothing more than rubble. Ancient relics are often very solid, but the destruction on the room was so great that only a few pedestals remained. The black-cloaked men also died from being crushed by rocks. Kaide thinks that they are probably trying to destroy the magic stone with artifact, magic light. Although Kaide's rank is 25, the capacity of the equipment box has also increased to 10k tons, but if the room collapses, they will still die here. Kaide wanted to try providing his magic power to artifact to see if it could continue to prevent earthquakes, but he wasn't sure it could withstand his magic power. Kaide touched a large stone to directly inject magic power, but he noticed that the time could take a long time, so he needed to find a way to charge the energy faster. However, that is impossible. Another earthquake occurred, the wall gradually collapsed. The artifact was also buried by a layer of soil and rock. Ria discovered there was a special relief safe. She felt a powerful thing inside it. Kaide went to take the safe to them. Ria injected magic power into the safe to send a request to open the safe but failed. Kaide remembered that Fiona had said that powerful treasures would have their own identification system. He wanted to use a sword to break the safe but was also afraid of destroying the thing inside. Kaide injected a large amount of magic power into the safe and opened it. Inside the safe were papers rolled up like a tube with the words written on the outside. Land of Frozen Silence. Top area magic cast by 10 or more level 2 mages. Kaide read through one at first. He thought it seemed to be an ancient magic. Ria held the magic scrolls and pulled Kaide away. Another big earthquake occurred and lasted for quite a while. Ria gave Kaide magic scrolls and a magic crystal connected to read the spell. With no time to think, Kaide began to recite the incantation. The magic crystal slowly rose up and his magic power was being absorbed by it. Kaide noticed something was wrong and started reading again. The stone blocks above began to fall. Ria used a steel wall but could not stop them. Kaide hugged Ria and ran away, but it seemed there was no time. He continued to recite the spell. That magic crystal suddenly flashed. Chunks of rock and soil were falling down on the 2 people hanging inexplicably. Kaide understood that the reason the pile of rocks stopped falling was because the Land of Ice Tranquility had been activated. Although they were able to escape the current dangerous situation, in 4 minutes the rock would fall again and they needed to find a way to leave this place. There was nothing in the magic scrolls to help them in this situation, so Kaide wanted Ria to create a steel wall to protect them. However, Ria's strength cannot create a large shield. Kaide tried. He successfully created a shield that could reflect attacks, which meant Kaide could use it to penetrate walls. After a few minutes, the two people successfully escaped outside, but everything around them was frozen. Kaide guessed the cause was due to the side effect of the quiet Iceland. Ria believes that the magic Kaide used just now absorbed all the energy that triggered the earthquake, so he promptly prevented the disaster. The two of them returned to Orthian together. Kaide was startled because Lucia knew that he and Ria came from the frozen area. She knew this information was because the adventurers went there to scout. Kaide decides to hide the truth from Lucia. Lucia wants to know the cause of the freeze. Kaide recounted the incident. Lucia mentions activated freezing, and Kaide goes on to explain that only magic can cause that phenomenon. It seems a protective device was activated after the volcano erupted. Kaide and Ria gave the guild card to Lucia so she could check the conquest history. Lucia had the duty to report all information to her superiors, and even if the freezing magic was leaked, it wouldn't go according to what Kaide thought. Information about the destruction of 60 criminals of the Modern Rocket Association was also given, and the association's people will deal with the remaining members of the association. Lucia was extremely surprised to learn that Kaide had defeated the 6-member Last Sword gang. This group is very strong. They are on par with A-rank adventurers. The B-rank adventurers they fought against 2 months ago failed miserably. The three people continued to talk. Kaide was awarded for being an informant. Due to the volcanic eruption blocking the main road, tourism and agricultural business activities had to be temporarily suspended. Kaide and Ria went to find Fiona. Because she had leveled up, Kaide's stone spears also became larger. Meeting Kaide and Ria again, Fiona was extremely emotional because she thought they were buried in snow and ice. Fiona calls the snow layer a frozen area. Fiona said there was an area that was frozen and seemed to be the entire volcano, and she heard that volcanic ash was below the frozen area. Kaide thought what was activated was freezing magic, maybe a volcanic protection device for emergency situations. Kaide was about to tell the truth but stopped. Fiona guessed that Ria had read the ancient document and activated a magic tool, and Kaide had activated the freezing area magic. She guessed correctly all the things that Kaide and Ria did, which shocked them completely. To activate the freezing zone, it took a lot of power from 1,000 to 10,000 C-class mages to activate the magic. Kaide realized that every day he was releasing a huge amount of MP. Fiona asks about Orthion's situation. Kaide wondered if the freezing area in ancient times had adverse reactions attached to it. Fiona thought it didn't mention anything about a disaster, but Zunana would grow a lot. Fiona's eyes shine when mentioning this grass. The next day, the three of them went to search for Zunana grass in the freezing zone. Botany is the most important thing in understanding archaeology, which is why Fiona was so excited to find it. Kaide and Ria did not sense any energy source of the monster because, as far as Fiona knew, the monster could not be approached due to the disturbance in magic power, so the monster would not appear for the next 3 years. Going deep into the frozen zone, the amount of Zunana grass was so large that it became Zunana land. If monsters do not appear, people can also collect this grass to help stabilize their lives until the economic situation recovers. Kaide also helps Fiona harvest grass. He uses his shield to harvest faster. Kaide's magic hits a tree. Fiona wants to take a piece of that tree as a research specimen. Fiona refers to the Decibatrians. It is full of strong people who constantly fight monsters. The three continued to harvest different plant samples for Fiona's research. When they were about to return, the three of them encountered the villagers who had received missions from the association also harvesting Zunana grass. When returning to the association, all the people were angry because the association had stopped buying Zunana grass because the quantity of goods exceeded expectations. Fiona suggested that Kaide could come up with the idea of using this grass the same way he did with coke and forged steel. Kaide proposed a plan to purify Zunana, extract the useful part of the plant. Kaide went to the experiment area. Cut the grass, put it in a pot of water, stir well, boil it, and after the water reduced, it was purified. It is estimated that 1 jar contains about 5.2 plants. 3 people thought about how to use the solution purified from Zunana grass. Fiona introduces Kaide to Mercia, a very good friend and many connections of hers. Mercia owns a small company called Mercia Company, but before that her big company went bankrupt. Kaide did not feel any credibility. Fione explained that the cause of bankruptcy was due to Mercia's boss constantly sabotaging the business, leading to debt. Mercia arranged everything, then opened a new company, which also made Kaide recognize Mercia as a good person. The three of them went to Mercia Company. The space inside was not the same as the one built after paying off the debt. Most of the items were magic tools for adventurers, products that sold well. Catherine is a beast like Fiona, but she is very tall. Catherine also works at Mercia's company. Mercia appeared. She had a beautiful and elegant appearance. Mercia had heard about Kaide inventing coke in Orthian. She guessed that the three of Kaide's group were here to discuss Zunana grass. Fione spoke up that she would bear the cost of Mercia's help because if she made a lot of money from Zunana grass, Fiona will take a portion of the profits for her own research. After discussion, everyone except Catherine went to conduct testing in an empty lot. Fione's idea is to prepare Zunana grass into a potion to restore stamina. Kaide added details that the liquid in the jar contained 5 units of Zunana grass excluding the shell. Mercia had guessed that Kaide wanted to concentrate the grass so she could transport more. Kaide reenacted the production process for Mercia to see. Merci believes that this cannot be put into practice because if refined, one would need to buy fuel to heat it. The solution would only yield 6 units of herbs and would require evaporation of a large amount of water, so it would cost a lot of money. Kaide proposed a plan to use alcohol to save fuel. Water boils at 100 degrees and wine at 80 degrees. Fiona has a very strong amount of sake at home because a dwarf left sake-making equipment at her house. They tried repeating the process with sake, and the result was that the water level decreased quickly when replaced with wine, so the time was cut in half. The solution after purification has a dark blue color. Kaide analyzed that this solution is a pure Zunana solution that can increase its effectiveness when mixed with a magic power-enhancing drug and then directly drink half of it and mix it with the pure solution again. The result is a potion that restores 80 hydrogen phosphide. A potion that can completely heal a person who has suffered fatal damage. Kaide successfully increased its effectiveness by 40 times. Fione plans to give this potion to someone to test. The 4 of them went together to the Orthian Branch Apothecaries Guild and brought the potion with them. Demek, a pharmacist there, determined that this potion had 40 times its normal effects. Demek couldn't wait to experiment with this drug. Demek found a volunteer named Ahi. Fione knew him. Ahi was once a famous adventurer in Orthian. 1 year ago he was hit by a poisoned arrow while trying to protect his friend. The poison destroyed his body, limiting his movements and wearing away his body. Ahi accepted all the results after using the medicine bottle. He suddenly took the medicine bottle and emptied it all in one breath. Ahi writhed in the hospital bed. Everyone thought the medicine was ineffective, but Ahi gradually changed. From a dry skeleton, his muscles swelled, his face became fleshy and he could move completely. Ahi was overjoyed and thanked Kaide profusely. In the office, Hopida, a pharmacist here, thanked Kaide, but he did not want to let Kaide sell it but wanted to ask Kaide to let Demek handle the distribution of the medicine. Hopida wants a talented pharmacist like Demek to have the opportunity to advance faster. Kaide was about to agree, but Merci spoke up first, mentioning the price and quantity conditions. Kaide authorized all negotiations to Mercia, and Mercia would accept the pharmacist's proposal on other conditions. The first problem Mercia raised was that she would sell the medicine without permission from the Pharmacists Association because the solution Kaide created was very simple. And it's not a drug at all, which means Kaide's side can sell it without any trouble. Mercia has reversed the previous situation of needing permission from the Pharmacists Association to sell this product and became the decision-maker in the negotiations. 2 pharmacists, Demek and Hopida, helped Kaide do the testing, so Mercia was willing to cooperate. But she was also the owner of Mercia Company, so she could sell the product under the company's name. Demek said he would create a medicine with twice the recovery power of Kaide's medicine and Mercia would also benefit from it. The 2 sides will continue negotiations after Demek finishes preparing his medicine. The performance time is scheduled for the next day. The next morning, Mercia went to the Merchant Guild to apply for a patent for the purified solution. Meanwhile, Kaide, Fione and Ria discussed how to mass-produce the pure solution. The 2 issues raised at this time are the alcohol needed for digestion and the cost of heating fuel. Mercia returned to announce that it had received a pure solution patent. Kaide shared her idea to solve 2 outstanding problems. Mercia couldn't agree more, but she didn't have enough financial resources. After reaching a transaction agreement, Kaide and Fione became shareholders of Mercia's company. The group decided to name the new company, Maple and Mercia Co. After coming to the Pharmacists Association, Mercia announced that her company Mercia Company would continue to operate under the name, Maple and Mercia Co., and that she would be the main representative. Regarding the drug manufacturing process, although Demek has completed it, Hopida is not sure about the effectiveness. Demek has really put a lot of effort into preparing the drug. It hasn't been completed yet, but overall for Demek, it's more than doubled the pharmacy. Faced with everyone's uninterested reaction, Demek began to explain mechanically. Kaide spoke up and said that he had seen that the medicine he prepared was 3 times better than the pharmacy. Then the two sides discussed the price of the medicine. The price was set according to Mercia's words. In the time that followed, Mercia was busy arranging workers and suitable locations to serve the mass production of drugs. Because she was so bored with harvesting grass, Kaide invited Ria to go on a trip. Ria wants to go to Decibator to hunt monsters. The next morning, Kaide informed Fione and Mercia of her plans to go to Decibator. Decibator is a place that is not easy to enter due to its long geographical distance. You will have to pass a test in Photoran Town, an area with B-class monsters. To defeat monsters, you can use the staff tower form in Photoran. Kaide is a bit discouraged because she has to escape flying monsters to reach Decibator. Kaide felt that the possibility of convincing Ria not to go there would be 0%, so he had to go to Photoran to take the test. Fione wanted to give Kaide something before he left, and she also mentioned a letter of introduction from the guild in Orthian. Since Decibator is an important defense branch of the guild, they are always in need of talented people. If someone passes the test, the referrer gets more credit. Mercia couldn't bear to let the two of them go, so she was extremely worried. Fione reassured Mercia that they would be fine. Lucia suddenly came to see Kaide before he left. Mercia asked Lucia to give Kaide a bag of recovery medicine, supplies, and a map to Decibator. The girl accompanying Lucia spoke up and said that the Orthian Association wanted to express their gratitude to him for coming up with a way to use Zunana grass to make the whole town jubilant. In addition to the gift from headquarters, Lucia personally gave her gift to Kaide, a letter of introduction. Kaide didn't know what else to say. What Fione brings is the communication device, main part, for Kaide. However, this device will not work if Kaide does not supply a large amount of magic to it. Kaide tried this device right away and it cost him 100 megapixels. What Kaide is concerned about is the distance this device can be used. Fione is also curious about the treasures in Decibator, so this device can help her contact Kaide. It only took Kaide and Ria 2 hours to get to Photoran. The two were excited before taking the test to get to Decibator. Kaide and Ria went to enjoy food in Photoran Town before taking the test. They went to the Photoran Branch Adventurers Guild so Kaide could carry out a transport mission. The cat receptionist introduces Kaide to Decibator's carrier quality test. The test is held in Photoran with the purpose of finding out how much stuff a person can carry and how they can survive on the road. To Decibator, Kaide wasn't worried about the amount of cargo, he was concerned about whether he had enough strength or not. The two arrived at the place where the test took place. The tall man named Gunsu will be the one testing them in this test. Gunsu asks them to practice killing the black wolf, which Kaide and Ria do in a few minutes. Kaide and Ria passed the test to receive the test. This is Gunsu's way of preventing unqualified people from being injured. Go to the transport weight measurement test, check how much cargo you can carry and how you survive. Kaide introduced herself as a magic swordsman, making Gunsu find it hard to believe. Gunsu declares that he will treat Kaide like a Decibator from now on. Since neither of them can carry it, Gunsu will use the method of measuring the weight of his equipment box. The first test will be patrol, requiring 2 people to circle Photran 25 times, then perform a combat test. The monsters you defeat will reflect your test score. Kaide and Ria began to proceed. Kaide calculated the circumference of Photoran and based on those calculations they had to run a total of 400 kilometers. In front of them are monsters, the two of them work together to destroy them. Kaide is in a location south of Photoran, a place near monster territory. Kaide was so excited, he used stone spears to defeat them. Arriving at the beach, based on analysis, Kaide discovered that there were fish-shaped monsters. This made him even more excited and quickly destroyed them all. Kaide used a fireball to bounce into the sea, creating a huge explosion and all the fish monsters were destroyed. The two completed 25 rounds in 6 hours and then went to Gunsu to report. Kaide's card actually said he had completed 25 rounds, which Gunsu couldn't help but believe. Gunsu directly watched the two run one more lap and he was completely shocked. The records of both of them far surpassed those of normal people with 5 times the number of monsters they defeated. Then both received the carrier's card. Kaide felt that going to Decibator with more people to support him would be better, so he agreed to team up with Mirei's team. The two of them accidentally walked past 5 girls and coincidentally they were talking about Kaide. Kaide used the device Fiona gave her to contact her. Kaide announces that he and Ria have completed the test and are allowed to go to Decibator. Kaide asked about Fione's situation. Mercia also shyly asked about Kaide. Kaide was curious when the stores in Photoran closed quite early. The reason is because it is difficult to import meat and fish here, so most stores will run out of ingredients after the afternoon. The man of a shop owner shared that they are currently unable to receive fish because many boats have sunk due to unknown holes. Kaide thought it was due to the attack by fish-shaped monsters, boat killer. But the man said they were quite far away from Photoran, so he didn't think this monster was the cause. Kaide came to the guild to report the boat killer's appearance. The association is also preparing to conduct the Boat Killer Contest campaign. This competition starts from this hour until sunset. Participants are allowed to form groups and all tricks are allowed except the use of poison. According to Kaide, this contest is a fairly urgent task, so not many people will participate. At the beach, besides Kaide and Ria, a group of 5 girls from Decibator also participated. Kaide didn't know how they were going to deal with the boat killers while they used the raft to get to the beach and was worried about breaking her fingernails. Kaide will also participate, but he wants to see how the group of girls will handle it. Kaide suddenly noticed the appearance of 3 people who looked like Zen masters. They clasped their hands and made shield-like sounds to curse the fish. The 3 of them are Garuda brothers from Decibator. Next they used fireballs to eliminate the boat killers. There are also live commentators on the shore reporting everything. Gunsu also suddenly appeared from nowhere and jumped into the sea to participate in the competition. The other group of 5 girls are also making progress. Mirei stabs a boat killer but does not collect it but uses its blood to attract the others. Kaide watched and slowly began to understand that tomorrow he would go to a place filled with people like Gunsu. Group of 5 girls and 3 Garuda brothers, unique and not ordinary, mutants. Kaide and Ria begin participating in the mission. Kaide used the acceleration jutsu to jump high, then used a fireball and submerged it with the pressure jutsu, and when he hit the water surface, he would push the ball into the water. But at this moment, Ria suddenly flew away, so Kaide rushed into the water, causing a huge wave that knocked down the participants and became the winner of the contest. Mirei complimented Kaide. She came over to introduce herself and greet the two of them.